Blagoja Bajkovski is the curator of the Pavilion, Republic of Macedonia. He is the professor, assistant professor at the Faculty of Architecture, University in Skopje. And he presented Strada Brutalissima. It's really interesting. You see in my background. Okay, thank you to have accepted my invitation for this conversation, Blagoja. Could you introduce
Thank you,
yourself?
Simona, for the kind invitation.
Can you introduce yourself?
As you already mentioned, I'm a professor at the Faculty of Architecture at the St. Cyril and Methodius University in Skopje. Uh, Regarding my background, I did my master thesis at Politecnico di Milano in Italy, and then my PhD again in Italy, just shifting the university, now
So
going
that's
in
why
the.
you speak such a good Italian. Very good. Yes.
Yes, because closely 10 years I stayed in Italy for my education. And regarding my PhD, I did it at the Mediterranean University of Reggio Calabria, exploring the topic of brutalism with the PhD dissertation called Atlanta Operante, Operative Atlas of 15 brutalist buildings from Skopje.
I had the two clues about your projects. One is that you've been inspired by Strada Novissima, the project brought to Biennale in 1980 by Paolo Portoghesi, and the second clue is that this project, your project that you presented in these days in Biennale, is also a result of different studies and from the 1963 when you were hit by a catastrophic earthquake and Kenzo Tange was in charge to rebuild your country, your city, and that was one of the most relevant brutalism landscape realized in Europe. Am I wrong?
No, that's right. As you mentioned, in 1963 there was this catastrophic earthquake in Skopje, where nearly 80% of the urban fabric was heavily damaged or destroyed. And in 1965, Kenzo Tange won actually, yes, the competition about rebuilding not the entire city, but just the central part of the city of Skopje. And actually, I think that this is a great opening question, because it really allows me to set the stage for what we wanted to achieve with this project. And as you mentioned, the central topic of our pavilion, which is called Strada Brutalissima, is actually rooted in a critical reinterpretation of Paolo Portoghesi's famous Strada Novissima from 1980s. And as you know, Portoghesi Street was this, let's say, spectacular and provocative sequence of facades, marking actually the very first international architectural exhibition in Venice. and it was about celebrating architecture as image, as surface, as kind of theater of forms. Now, when we looked back at that, we thought, what happens if we shift the focus? Instead of privileging the surface and the spectacle, could we turn towards the depth, the depth of knowledge, of memory, and ethical meaning that architecture carries within it? And I think that that's precisely what our project begins. We take as our point of departure, as you mentioned, the city of Skopje with its devastating earthquake in 1963. And in this context, brutalism uh, actually didn't appear simply as stylistic language or an aesthetic trend. Uh, it emerged as something much more profound. I can say that it was a manifestation of resilience, of course, of international solidarity, and of cultural hybridity.
And now, how you selected the buildings that you reproduce in this pavilion? So we have 10 different buildings that you brought on this table and then this plastic, and you say, "Okay, I choose this because."
Yes, we had several parameters of how to choose those buildings, and I can divide them, let's say, in two two categories of parameters that helped us choosing the buildings. The first one was that because those are not the only brutalist buildings in Skopje. There is a plenty of them. There is, I can say, about diversity of brutalist buildings in Skopje, but we tried to select the most emblematic buildings from which can be distilled different categories of knowledge. And another parameter that helped us in choosing the buildings was because, as Paolo Portoghesi did for his exhibition, inviting 20 eminent architects in that period to construct the different facades, we invited 20 prominent professors, researchers, architects from around the world, coming from different universities, but professors, architects that have already visited Skopje and are known with its history, particularly with the reconstruction of Skopje, and they're well known with those buildings. So, in communication with those 20 invited participants, we also did the selection of those buildings.
And which were the main challenges uh, in sticking in following the themes proposed by Carlo Ratti? So you had to confront also a kind of roadmap he gave it to the curators. So
Uh, I would say that innovation of our approach lies in the way we deliberately displays the tension, because we are not simply repeating Portoghesi's spectacle of facades, nor we are falling into nostalgia by celebrating brutalism as fixed monument of the past. Instead, we are treating brutalism as I would say as a living archive, as an active archive. By that I mean a set of processes, methods, and ways of thinking, ways of distilling uh, intelligences that can still shape and inspire architectural and urban imagination today. To translate that into exhibition form, actually we structured the pavilion into distinct but complementary layers. On one side, visitors encounter, as we mentioned, 10 biographies of brutalist buildings from Skopje, uh, but not as ordinary architectural drawings. They are hybrids combining precise surveys, archival reconstructions, and interpretive diagrams. And on the other side, where probably lies the response to Carlos Ratti general topic, we presented 20 critical uh, reflections, as I mentioned, written by international authors coming from 14 different universities around the world, and those texts open up a broader theoretical perspectives. They situate Skopje buildings within frameworks like urban stratification, dialectic thinking, collage-like assemblage of history and modernity. So maybe our pavilion is much more connected to the third intelligence that Carlo Ratti mentioned in the topic of this year's Biennale, which is the collectiveness of the collective intelligence.
And now you conceive the interaction with the audience. How you thought, okay, now I would like to leave the people to interact, yes, with the in what they see in this layout, in this space.
Exactly, yes. That's something we thought about a lot with the other authors of this project. We really imagined the pavilion as a space of encounter, I will say, not a neutral gallery where people quietly look at things from a distance, but rather a place that invites walking, reading, reflecting, and even contributing. That's why we literally shape the exhibition as a street. The street is uh, as we know, the most universal and democratic urban form. Everybody knows how to experience it, how to inhabit it, how to move along it. So by organizing the exhibition as a street, we ensure that the visitors are not passive spectaculars. They become active participants in the unfolding of the narrative. As they move through, they encounter, as it was mentioned previously, two fronts. One side, there the large scale drawings, the graphical biographies, the images, the drawings, the diagrams. This capture the eye and invite visual exploration. But on the opposite side, where we see the image now on the screen, they meet the texts, the intellectual reflections that require actually a slower pass, slower movement, and a moment of reading and thinking. And I think that this dual engagement actually mirrors the way we actually experience a city. We encounter it through images, through words, and through embodied presence. And I think that by offering these layers, we hope that visitors will not only connect to Skopje, but also reflect on their own cities. They might recognize and make parallels in how modern architecture has been received, neglected, or rediscovered in their own context. And in this way, the pavilion actually becomes an open dialogue where the meaning of brutalism is not imposed by us, but actually discovered collectively by the visitors.
The theme is also how brutalism is clashing with the current trend in eco-sustainability, and how you envision as you said, this is not a nostalgia project, but how you see brutalism evolving with these modern new tools such as AI and a new vision in architecture.
I think that what we were trying with our project is it was more to connect it on cultural and social level because it takes us to the heart of why we choose Skopje and why brutalism matters. Architects from after the devastating earthquake in 1963, the reconstruction of Skopje was not a local or national project. It became really a global project because architects from around the world came together, guided by the United Nations, to reimagine the city as I can say a laboratory of modernity. In that context, brutalism was more than aesthetic choice. It was an ethical stance because it embodied the resilience, the international solidarity, and uh, a belief in architecture's power to rebuild not just walls and streets, but the social fabric of a community. Uh, that history gives brutalism in Skopje a very particular cultural and social weight, actually, which I think it goes beyond the artificial intelligence and the focus on the artificial intelligence. But of course, today we face new challenges because many of these brutalist buildings in Skopje, as in other cities, not only in Skopje, are neglected, misinterpreted, or even threatened with demolition in some cases. Uh, I think that uh, they still have lessons to teach us about collectivity, about public space, about identity. Uh, and I think that maybe, yes, in those categories, in those parameters, the artificial intelligence is something that might be involved.
And the Republic of Macedonia is uh, has chosen to present this project, to support this project in this edition of Biennale. And what do you expect to be the feedback and the um, yeah, the feedback for a country, for your country, from what do you expect from this edition of Biennale? What would you like to achieve?
Mhm. Yes, as you mentioned, the project was actually supported by the Ministry of Culture and Tourism of North Macedonia and realized by the National Gallery of Macedonia with in collaboration with my home institution, which is the Faculty of Architecture. I think that uh, in the sense of what it can uh, be positive, what we can bring, the positive effect of this project might be divided, let's say, in two particular ways. The first one is for sure spreading the knowledge about one portion of heritage, legacy, modern heritage that is less known in the general history of architecture, because I think that the hegemony of the Western culture has a little bit suppressed uh, the importance of those knowledge of especially of this legacy. So uh, from this point of view, I think that it's important that it will be dispersed, disseminated, this not well known heritage all around the world. The second, and maybe this is more local influence that might the exhibition and the project be important, is to arise the awareness of the importance of this legacy of the brutalist heritage in Skopje, and to start thinking in a way of how it can be protected, because I think that it has a big influence in the creation of the identity of the city of Skopje. So I think that those two impacts, one on a global stage with the dissemination of knowledge about this legacy, and on another hand, on the local scale, arising the awareness of the importance of those buildings for the city of Skopje and for the creation of its identity.
Okay, thank you very much. We came to an end. I had the pleasure to have here Blagoja Bajkovski, the curator of the Republican Macedonian Republic. It has been a very interesting conversation. I remind the audience that they can have the chance until the 23rd of November to visit Biennale and, of course, the Republic of Macedonia pavilion with Strada Brutalissima. Personally, I found this really fascinating, and I'm absolutely into this kind of in-depth in architecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simona, for your kind invitation and for this inspiring interview.
Okay. I hope to see you soon one day in Italy. Grazie mille. Grazie.
Grazie a lei.
Grazie.